Greetings and welcome to What's New with Human Design, in which we follow the journey of the sun and the earth around the human design mandala. So I'm Maggie Ostara, and I would like to welcome you to What's New with Human Design, giving you a sense of kind of how the big energies are changing week to week. And you know, I think sometimes we're a little bit baffled why we feel one way one week and one way another week. And we go, wow, I had all this energy before and now I don't feel like I have this energy, or wow, I was so tired last week and now all of a sudden I have all this energy. Interesting, right? So that's what I want to open up with today. Because we have a shift from last week. We had a reflector chart. Okay, so that basically meant that there were no channels and no centers that were defined in the whole chart. There were gates. There's always gates that are defined, but it was open. And this week we now have a manifesting generator chart, which we had a couple of weeks ago. And this is important, particularly for people who don't have the sacral defined in their chart. So people who are not generators and not manifesting generators. So projectors, manifestors, and reflectors. Because what happens when we have a manifesting generator or any kind of a generator chart, then the people who don't have that sacral defined all of a sudden get all this energy from a defined sacral happening up in the sky. And so that's what's happening this week. Is now we have a manifesting generator chart. We have a direct, the sacral is defined by the channel 515. So going from the sacral to the G center. And then also the 3536, which is going from the emotional solar plexus to the throat. So we've got a motor going to the throat, and then we've got a defined sacral. That's what makes a manifesting generator. And this week, the sun has moved into the gate 35, and the earth has moved into the gate 5. So all of this energy that's happening in these two channels and in those two gates, which are primary gates, where the sun and the earth are, this is all collective energy. The 3536 is in the sensing circuit. It's right-brained energy. It's creative. It's abstract. It's unboundaried in the sense that it connects to the all that it is. It feels the continuum of nature and feels to be a part of that. Whereas the 5, which is where the earth is part of the logic or the pattern circuit, also part of larger collective circuitry, but it is a part of the logic circuit. So it's left-brained, it's logical, it's rational, it's reasonable, it's analytical, it's strategic. So it's a very different energy than the more somatic, body-based, experiential, creative, sensing, sensual quality of where the 35 is. And so the invitation this week is to find a way to have these two very different kinds of energies to dance with each other and inform each other and help each other, so that you can create and bring forth something new that doesn't already exist through this creative tension that you're going to have between the left brain and the right brain. Unfortunately, often people who have things like this regularly defined in their charts, they can feel a little bit of conflict between these different aspects of their being, because they are quite different from each other. But the truth is that we all have right brain and left brain activity all the time. We can't not. Now that with neuroscience, they've tracked what's happening in the brain, and the right brain and the left brain are working all the time. Sometimes people say, oh, I'm so right brain, and it's true, but you still have a left brain, and the vice versa is also true. So this invitation is to say, oh, how do I actually use this creative tension that's happening right now for the greater good, right? For me, because there's a lot of power in what's happening right now. So The 35 is on the throat, and it is directly connected to the emotional solar plexus. So you've got this creative energy, the emotional solar plexus. A lot of times people think of it as the locus of emotion, but emotions are what we think of as feelings are in a bunch of different places in the chart. They're not just in the emotional solar plexus. I've come to think of the emotional solar plexus a little bit more. I mean, for people who have it defined, it definitely means that they have a quality of emotion that's pretty much constant in that they're feeling emotion all the time. The emotion itself changes, and the more that you allow it just to flow, the easier it's going to be. Sometimes you're going to feel more up, sometimes you're going to feel a little more melancholy. It's all fine. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to try to process yourself out of your melancholy. You can just enjoy it. And find a way to make art out of it. That's what I always recommend if you're feeling melancholy. So that's for emotionally defined people who are kind of low on their wave. But I also have really come to see the emotional solar plexus as like creative power. And if we think about what emotions are very, very energetically powerful, right? Whether that's anger, right? Or whether it's joy. I mean, either one, when they are allowed to express themselves, are very powerful energies. Now, of course, you want to be able to know how to direct anger, right? And not be directing it at a person. But you do want to be able to express it in some way. And it's super important. And in the manifestation process, we want to direct our emotional energy towards what we want rather than towards what we don't want. Because that emotional energy will help to bring about, it'll help to crystallize out of the quantum field into our manifest reality, whatever it is that we feel a lot of emotional energy around. So this week, you're going to have a lot of access to this. I don't have this defined in my chart at all, so this is something that's going to be really alive for me that I don't usually have available, and that may be the case for you. I'm not emotionally defined, so I'm going to get to feel that, and then I'm going to get to feel this energy of emotions going directly to the throat, which is how we express and also how we initiate and begin to bring things into form. And so the 35 is also a storytelling gate. It's a gate about experience. It's a gate about our life experience, and it's the final expression of this sensing circuit. So you've been able to go all the way through the right to brain piece and to feel that there's you've had a lot of different life experience. You've experienced things through the body. You've learned through experience. Okay, like the logical stuff you learn much more with your mind, right? With your analysis and with data and so on. What's happening more with the 35 and the sensing circuit is you're learning through the body, through your sensual experience, through your life experience. And so the 35, where the sun is right now, is all about that. And the 35 can help us to express our life experience, to help us express what we've learned through all of the decades that we have been experiencing life, and we've been reflecting, and we've come to understand ourselves better and come to understand the world better. So that's what the 35 is about, and it's being fueled by that 36 energy right now, and it's creating this beautiful channel, and the opportunity here is to use the emotional energy, the feelings that you have, to help you to share your story in a way that is inspiring for others, that helps others to be engaged in life, to want to continue to explore. The downside of this can be being kind of jaded through experience, or getting kind of disconnected from experience. It's like, oh, I've already done that. And it's like, been there, done that. It's like you want to watch out for that. and keep fueling your joie de vivre, right? Your zest for life. We had the gate of zest last week with the 16, which is also on the throat, right? You want to keep fueling that zest for life that the 35 can express, and particularly when it's fueled by that 36 energy. So then we have the earth is lighting up the gate 5. And I love this particular gate. It's part of the 551. Which is the channel of rhythm in traditional human design. And even though it's in the logic circuit, in some ways it's the least logical and the most holistic part of this whole channel, part of the whole circuitry, because it's connected to the natural world. So in its rhythm, and the 5 really likes consistency. It's been renamed consistency in the quantum human design. And so it likes consistency, and it's the consistency of the sun rising and the sun setting, or of the turn of the year with the seasons, right? It's that kind of consistency. It's that kind of rhythm. It's looking at what's happening in the natural world, and for us to be aligning with that, right? It's not, I mean, it's a pattern, you can track it, you've probably seen moon calendars that do that, or earth calendar, like, so it's all of that, but it also exceeds that, in my view. It also connects in a more holistic way with the natural world, because in the natural world, we don't have categories, right? We don't have things broken into pieces. There's an unbroken continuum in the natural world that we as human beings like to categorize, and we like to break into pieces, and we like to call this a tree and this a bush, and we like to catalog what the trees are. But in the natural world, it's all an undivided continuum, right? But there are cycles. And that's what this rhythm can help us with. There's a little bit of a tension built into this channel, the 515, because the 15, which is on the G center, is a little more erratic. Doesn't have quite so much rhythm in it. It's a little more erratic. It usually will kind of, what's the right way to say it? It'll have a routine, but it won't necessarily have the routine at the same time every day, the way that the 5 likes. So there can be a little bit of creative tension there, but you just want to work with that one and see how it can stimulate you to either bring some more consistency into your life, or if there's a way that it can help you be more at peace with some ways that sometimes you might be a little more erratic. Now the 15, Venus is lighting up the 15. So this is also about grounding your womanly energy or your feminine energy, however you identify in terms of gender. We all have this feminine Venus energy. So as well as it grounding your sun energy, right? That 35 energy that's all about experience, it's also grounding your womanly energy. So you might want to just play around with that and see, how is this channel of rhythm working in my womanly energy or my feminine energy? Do I need to have something more consistent? Do I need to have a routine that's gonna give me some structure, that's gonna really help my feminine to blossom? Or do I need to open out my routine a little bit to see how my feminine energy can blossom in that way? So they're not absolutes in any of these. You want to be playing around to really see what's going to work for you. So you may be feeling, if you're a non-sacral being, you may feel that you have a lot more energy coming this week. I've noticed that I can feel more energy coming because my emotional solar plexus is being defined. I can feel that my throat is defined, and that's helping me to be able to express myself and to initiate in ways that I don't ordinarily have. So you can take a look at your chart and see how I will post the chart everywhere. It's already inside of the regular social media image that I post every time there's a change. So it's already there on Instagram and already there on Facebook. But I will post that chart so that you can see it for yourself and see how your own personal chart interfaces with it, because that's where the gold is for you. That's where the magic is for you, is that you can see, oh, what kind of energy do I have access to now that I don't always have access to? Now, if you are a non-sacral being, you want to take advantage of having this emotional energy available to you, but you also want to make sure that you rest so you're not just frying yourself either, because you can ride too long on sacral energy that's not exactly yours. And the same could happen with the emotional solar plexus, right? If you don't have that defined in your chart, like I don't, if I were to ride on that for too long, that would be something that could burn me out a little bit too, but it's not going to hang around that long, so you don't really need to worry about it. Yeah, so the thing I would just say for you for this week is to find a way to play with the energies that are available to you. Let me just see if there's any negative consequences I want to warn you about. The only thing that immediately comes to mind is that tension between the sensing circuit and the logic circuit, right? You don't want your logic circuit to beat up on your sensual being, because our culture tends to privilege the logical, right? The left brain, the analytical, the strategic, all of that. And so we can dismiss the insights and the inspiration and the intuition that we get through our sensing circuit. And so you want to watch out for that and make sure that you're also embracing. And of course, the sun is lighting up the sensing circuit, so it's going to be really bright this week if you allow yourself to feel it, and don't allow that five energy, that logic energy, to take over. The other is that tension between the 5 and the 15 that you want to check out for yourself. But I think this is really a great configuration. I think it's going to help non-sacral beings. I think it's going to give those of us who are not emotionally defined a new experience of our emotional solar plexus, and give us more creative energy. And that's all beneficial also. And so use this to express, to engage, to create more of what you want in your life. Just make sure that you're paying attention to where you're putting your attention, because just remember, what you focus on expands, right? Wherever your attention goes, energy flows. These are things I'm sure you've heard before. And even though we've heard them, it doesn't mean that we're all that good at practicing them. Right. And of course, always, always, always remember to use your strategy, whatever your strategy is by your type, and then also your inner authority to make decisions about what's right for you and if it's the right time. Because you may be getting some extra energy and some extra impulses to be working now, and it still may not be exactly the right time. So you want to make sure you're using your authority for that. Okay, so that is my update for this week. Thanks so much for being here with me today for What's New with Human Design. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And if you would like to book a reading with me, you can find out more about me and my work at sovereigntybydesign.com. Many blessings, much love. Bye for now.